Hello, students. This is Mr. Murphy, and we are recording Data Distribution Passion Project due tomorrow. So, on the Google Classroom, I have shared the Data Distribution Passion Project right here. So, good, you're watching it. So, all of my stuff is here. It's a sample project. I didn't fill out this part, but on your data distribution passion project, I've shared this through Google Drive and I've made extra copies for you today. You need to read these parts right here where it says requirements, many in the form of question. So, what is a random sample? Now that's up here. What is a random sample? You should have copied that down the first day. What question will you ask and what population have you chosen? You should have done that the first day. It says here you must create 4 to 5 answer choices for your population to use. We're not, I didn't make sure you did that. So if you didn't do that, well, hopefully you've got at least 1 or 2. But I did ask you to ask age and gender and all that other stuff. What do you predict the most common answer will be? So if you didn't put a prediction down, you should put one down now. This second part, what did you learn about the population you collected data on? What did you choose of your sample? How did you choose your sample of the population? So we chose the population. How did you choose the sample? You and your partner should have done something different. Was a random sample used? How do you know? You don't have to use one. You just need to tell me if you used a random sample and how do you know? And does the sample provide a valid statistic? Why or why not? These are questions you have to answer, and you'll answer them at the end. What inference can be drawn from your data? If you were to continue collecting data for twice as many people, how many people would choose each of your answers? So you're going to have to answer some questions. Your data must be included and graphed. Select the appropriate type of graph, etc. Make progress each day and work respectfully near students. So some of those students who were doing on Friday, going back and asking questions on a survey, they obviously can't get full points on this. Those students who are bothering other people in the classroom won't get full points. Finish your project and turn it in. So tomorrow, at the very latest, you need to turn it in. Here's my example. So I started with a sample data collection that I did online. Should we send astronauts to Mars? And I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 choices for them. So it wasn't a yes or no. It was, should we send astronauts to Mars? I also asked other questions: age, location, state. So I got 4 questions and 5 possible answers for my respondents. I like Google Forms because they have the responses and they make graphs for me, so I can just copy these graphs and send them over using a screen capture tool of my choice. It also puts the data. So if you click up here, it says view responses in sheets. So I can go into my sheets and I can create a very similar graphs for, looks just like this graph, only this one is 3D. So I actually used this one. Then I made a presentation. So 7th grade survey, going to Mars, Mr. Murphy. Here's where I'm answering the questions. I created an online survey, shared it via Twitter and Facebook. My population, I tell about my population. Is it valid or not? It could have been anyone in the world, but because most people in the world don't have the internet, and I only have 15 or 1600 followers on Twitter and 500 on Facebook, I didn't reach the entire world. Plus, not everybody answered. So my population was or my sample population was really, really small and certainly not representative of the entire world. My prediction is that most people want to travel to Mars as soon as possible. I even put the definition of a random sample down here so that my teacher knows that I did it. Here's a link to the survey so my teacher can see it. Second one, most people in the survey. So I'm looking at the answers. Most people wore 14 to 34. So those were even. And I could even say 14 to 55, but these were even, so I didn't pick one or the other. and most people lived in the United States. All right. I did not choose a population. I just sent the survey out. So it was not a random sample. The statistics are not valid because the survey was not random. That means they might or might not be true. So I'm answering these questions. I went through and answered most of these questions. I actually did not answer all. So you can maybe get some bonus points if you tell me what questions that I missed that I should have answered to get an A. Here are some of the possible responses people had. So here's my 5 responses, and here's my inferences. The results were split evenly between these two, so I infer that people want to go to Mars but are unsure if we should send robots or people. Maybe even they will send robots first and then people second. My conclusions, my inferences. If I were to continue to collect data, then 3 out of 11 people would say they want to go to Mars right away, and another 3 out of 11 people would want to send robots to Mars. What about the other 4 people who answered the survey? What would they answer? So I've missed one of those questions. I'm helping you out just for that extra credit. All right. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, but make sure you go through all of these questions and answer all of these questions in your sample presentation. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. Good luck on your quiz.